Hello, good morning. Welcome back. It's another Monday, and we are here to discover our intention for the week through mindful journaling. So, if you don't have something to write with, grab a pen, grab your journal, and we're going to be going through that process together live. And I'm glad that you're here. If you want to share where you're coming from, in the chat, I would love to see it. I'm always delighted to see where people are coming from. I love to see people coming from all over the place. All right, before we get started with our journaling, we need to get ready and grounded in this moment even more. So if you have a watch on, I want you to take it off. And then put your feet flat on the ground, and you want your limbs uncrossed. And the reason that we do all of this, it might seem small or silly, but it helps keep our flow of energy moving through our bodies. And we want that flow. So whatever energy we need is coming up for us. All right. Now, we're going to do a little bit of breath work just to get a little bit more in our bodies. So I like to close my eyes when I'm doing breath work so I can focus inward on my body more, but you're welcome to keep your eyes open or gaze softly downwards. So let's just take a few deep breaths in. So we're breathing in. And we're holding that in our heart for just a moment. And exhale. And we're breathing in again. And we're holding that. We're holding an intention of acceptance in our heart. And we're releasing any distractions. And lastly, one more. And holding and release. Always feels good to take some breaths there. All right. If it's your first time here, welcome. Say hello in the chat. Now, we're going to be doing journaling in a way perhaps that you haven't done before. And this is a form of journaling that I was introduced to over 20 years ago. And I will admit that when I first was told about this, I was highly skeptical. But it's non-dominant hand journaling. And that means that instead of journaling with my left hand, because that's my dominant hand, I'm going to journal with my right. Now, you might say, why would I do that? It's hard to read, it's slow, etc. Pick all the reasons. I feel like I'm 5. Part of the reason that we do that is we're slowing down. It slows us down. That is part of the point. Also, we have to be very, very focused on what we're doing, highly focused. And there is science that I talk about in my first book here, Inner Affirmations, that supports this. But for me, what was the turning point, or the thing that really sold it for me, was that the things that I was journaling about weren't the same old shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm journaling, it just feels like the same old crapola that I am journaling all the time. This is also another form of mindfulness. And if you're here, you are probably interested in mindfulness. You're probably doing meditation or active meditation, mindful walking, or other forms of mindfulness to be more in the present and more in the moment, which gives us more compassion and empathy and caring for ourselves and those around us. So this is why we do that. Now, what are we going to journal about? Well, the reason that I do this every week is, one, I like to start my week off with an intention for the week. However, what do I write about? So I have a number of tools and resources that I call upon to help me figure out what is the right thing or what is the right question for me to ask for my journaling this week. And that's what I do first thing on Monday mornings when I get up, and I ask and I do some tapping and some meditation and some breath work. And I ask the question, what tool is going to guide me and you to the right place for intention this week? And I have a number of tools, oracle decks, books, and the one that was calling out to me today was the Higher Self Oracle deck, which you can actually get this on Amazon. I bought it at my favorite bookstore, the Boulder Bookstore, last year, I think. It's by Deanna Marie Riddick. And I love this little deck. It comes in this little tin box, and the cards look like this. And they have beautiful, beautiful artwork here. And what I do is I hold this deck to my heart and I ask the question, what is it that we need to consider? And then I shuffle until a card pops out, as it should. And the one that popped out for me today is overcome obstacles, which I was like, okay, interesting. And one of the things I love about this little deck is that it also comes with a little book. So the book is really helpful because it guides you or gives you more information about that particular card. So there's like a whole section. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want you to listen and be in the moment and just let whatever comes up for you as you are listening, just let that come up and move through you. And if you want to comment in the chat, feel free to. All right. You're in the midst of experiencing an obstacle. Life is full of challenging situations, and at times one obstacle follows another without any time in between. Naturally, obstacles feel discouraging and sometimes can derail your plans or completely set you back. It is understandable to become frustrated and disappointed as you struggle to overcome your problem. You may be experiencing a lack of resources, a lack of inspiration or knowledge, a failure, a lack of abundance or support, or even stagnancy. Often, obstacles are seen as permanent stop signs or indications that you lack the necessary skill to achieve or succeed and should discontinue. This card brings your attention to the repetitive self-talk you may be engaging in as you are met with unexpected hurdles and disappointment. Your higher self requests that you modify your inner conversations and shift your mental attitude. You are being asked to pause your perception from one of fear to one of love. Your higher self knows that obstacles are opportunities and blessings in disguise. Take time to connect with your higher self to ascertain what you can learn from your situation, rather than focusing solely on setbacks or negative aspects of the obstacle. There's more, but you get the general idea. I was fascinated when I read this because I thought I don't feel like I have an obstacle, right? And I read this section, this one sentence. You might be experiencing a lack of resources. I don't feel like that. A lack of inspiration or knowledge. I don't feel like that. A failure. I don't feel like that. A lack of abundance or support. I don't feel like that. Or stagnancy. Maybe a little bit like that. But I'm reading that and I'm going, okay, what's my obstacle right now? And I was just feeling into that. And what is it? So what is your obstacle right now? Because that, and you might not know what it is, just like I wasn't 100% sure. I do have to have surgery in 3.5 weeks. Is that an obstacle? Am I a little afraid? A little bit, not terribly. I'm not giving it a lot of energy. And I'm thinking about it because I have to prep for it, but I'm like looking forward to the backside of it and how things are going to be great. And I'm going to be able to move again like I used to. So there's that. And then perhaps I feel a little stagnant in growing this particular business. My other business is doing great. But this is the one where my heart is. But I am taking steps to move forward on that. But perhaps that is where I have the negative self-talk. I don't know. So what is yours right now? Now, before we journal, what I want you to do is grab your journal. And what I want you to do is first, I want you to write the date with your non-dominant hand. We talked about that. That's what we're going to be using. And definitely we start with that because we want to be sending that message to our inner voice, to our inner wisdom that, hey, I'm going to be opening this channel to receive from you. And then I want you to write the journal prompt, and I'm going to type that in the chat right now, which is, how can I shift my fear to love? It's short and sweet. And how can I shift my fear to love? I've pinned that at the top, but you're going to write that with your non-dominant hand as well. And then you're just going to start writing. And so you can see here, this is an example. Sometimes it's a single word. Sometimes it's a sentence. Sometimes it's a phrase. There's no wrong or right way to do it, except that you're using your non-dominant hand. That's it. It's easy past that. So what I'm going to play some music. I want you to journal, and then we're going to be going through what comes up for us afterwards and discovering our intention from that writing. So if you have any questions while we're journaling, I will be keeping an eye on the chat, but I'm going to be journaling too with you. And here we go. right. All right. How was that? So, what came up for you in your journaling? I'd be really curious to know. I can show you mine. It's here. It was short and sweet and to the point, and I got what I needed really quickly. I think that's one of the things that I do love about this type of journaling is there are books out there and that say that you need to journal for an hour in order for the flow to start. And I say that's nonsense. You don't have to, I mean, who has an hour? I know I don't. I wouldn't have an hour to be journaling if I wanted. There's absolutely no way I could carve out that time. Would I like to? Sure. But I'd have to get up an hour earlier in the mornings in order to do that. And that's just not going to happen. However, when I'm doing this journaling, sometimes, I journal for more than a page, right? So like here's a page and a half, but sometimes I get right to the point, lickety split. There it is. I get what I need right away. And what came up for me was listen to guidance, trust guidance, learn to trust my skills. So interesting. So what came up for you while you were journaling, you can put that in the chat. And I am going to, here. So now what I want you to do is to find a piece of paper. Find a piece of paper. And now you're going to take one of the things that you wrote, and with your dominant hand, you're going to write it on this piece of paper. You're going to make this your intention, the one thing that you want to be very clear about. And mine is trust guidance. So I have a new coach who's helping me, and I need to trust that she knows what she's talking about. And I believe that she does. Otherwise, I wouldn't have hired her. So I am going to trust that she knows what she's doing. She's built her own successful business. I am going to trust that if she tells me to do something, I probably need to do it. So that's going to be my intention for the week. And I would love to know what yours is. You can put it in the chat right now, or you can put it in the comments later, and I would be delighted to see it. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful week. And if you have questions for me, just send them my way. I'll be glad to answer. Have a beautiful day.